Khosh Amadid. Welcome to Iran. Formerly known as Persia, this was a world empire rich in history whose many secrets have been well preserved. A land of magical splendor, ancient architecture, and Oriental hospitality. Tehran has been the capital of the Persian Empire since 1795. Founded by Mohammed Aga Khan. A vibrant place that ranks amongst the most densely populated cities on Earth. The biggest transformation in its recent history was due to religious leader Ayatollah Khomeyni. But culture is still highly valued, and museums such as the National Museum continue to be popular. The museum contains finds from the time of the Persian Empire and many more remarkable treasures. Including a collection of modern art. As well as a modern carpet museum with fascinating examples of weaving. Showpieces of the various regions of this country of rugs, with patterns and scenes of nomadic life. The Goristan, or Rose Garden Palace, was built in Safavidian times in the center of the city. It was extended by various rulers and finally nominated as a reception palace. Typical mirror mosaics cover its walls. The throne room contains a gold-framed summer throne. Further buildings adorn this well-laid-out park. It's a modern city. With shopping one of the favorite pastimes of its inhabitants, mostly done in the bazaar. The Tajrish district is known for its famous Imamzadeh Sadeh sanctuary. Dedicated to a descendant of the Prophet and much revered. In front of the mausoleum, a passion play is performed that features the Shiites against the Umayyadin. The Saad-Abad Palace complex was the first summer residence of the Qadjarian kings. Following several extensions from the 1920s, 18 palaces were used by Reza Shah Pahlevi and his family. Later, parts of them were converted into museums. There is the White Palace, the Green Palace, and the Palace of the Crown Prince. From the outside, the palaces appear to be somewhat modest, but their interiors are most exquisite, with priceless furnishings and bright chandeliers. And all of the romance of the East and the elegance of a long history, in keeping with a world empire. The Milad Tower is Tehran's latest landmark, 276 meters high with a revolving restaurant and a view that overlooks the city. A metropolis that rarely sleeps. On the southern outskirts, the imposing mausoleum of Ayatollah Khomeyni was established. It soon became a place of pilgrimage. The shrine of the Imam is located in a huge hall which is covered with carpets. The city of Qom is located south of Tehran on the western edge of the Kavir Desert in a millennia-old settlement area. Soon after its conquest by Arab Muslims in the 7th century, Qom emerged as a center of Shi'ism. The mausoleum mosque of Fatima, sister of Imam Reza, is one of the holiest places of the Shiites and is visited by millions of pilgrims. In 816 AD, Fatima became seriously ill on a visit to her brother in Medina. She passed away and was buried there. The Shiite faith quickly attracted many followers, and above Fatima's grave a highly revered shrine was built. This vibrant pilgrimage city includes a bazaar, 500 meters long, with domed corridors. Since time immemorial, the bazaar has been the commercial and cultural nerve center of every Islamic Oriental city. The Jame Mosque was founded by Seljuk Sultan Tugrul II and is thought to date back to 1135. In the garden of the three grave towers are buried several members of the Ali Safi family who ruled Qom in the 14th century. Each of the towers contains an impressive stucco mihrab with plant life, ornamentation and text. At this time, special tombs were built particularly in Qom. The city of Kashan prospered under the Safavid Shah Abbas The First, who designed the Bagh-E-Fin Garden according to a model of a Persian paradise garden. Here, rosewater is distilled from the petals of roses. The residential palace of a Qadjarian merchant family from the second half of the 19th century indicates the wealth of those times. This magnificent residence consisted of two areas, one that was accessible to strangers and one that was private. The Ivana courtyard seduces with its frescoes, stucco and glass. The Hammam bathhouse of the Safavid period 400 years before is one of the most beautiful of its kind due to its furnishings and wall decorations. Outside the city, the settlement mound of Tepe Sialk uncovered finds that can be traced back to the 7th millennium BC. At the time of Shah Abbas, Kashan was fortified with a double city wall that contained more than 6,000 buildings plus 40 mosques and 3 Koran schools. The turquoise pitched roof and 2 minarets indicate the Imamzadeh Shahzadeh Ibrahim. This mausoleum was built to commemorate the son of an imam at the end of the 19th century. To visit Achaemenid, it's necessary to journey to the seclusion of the Caucasus Mountains. But it's well worth the effort. One of the region's most beautiful villages is known for its inhabitants who, for a long time following Islamization, remained true to the doctrine of Zarathustra. Made of walnut, the front doors are of robust construction, and the narrow streets wind their way between multi-floored buildings of red mud bricks that cling picturesquely to the mountainside. The village, which dates back to an ancient settlement, enjoyed its heyday under the Safavids. Indeed, several buildings of this period have survived. By force, the villages were converted to the Shia religion, and a small Friday mosque was built. Most women do not wear a traditional chador, and an ancient dialect is spoken. It's a fascinating place. On the way to Yazd, we arrive at the traffic junction of Nain, on the edge of the desert. A 10th century Sunni Friday mosque can be seen in the distance. This, one of the oldest religious buildings in Iran, is completely built of brick, together with a minaret based on Arab models, without an entrance porch, but with a subterranean winter prayer hall. Directly opposite, a Safavidian manor house is open to the public. The rooms are arranged on 2 floors around a rectangular courtyard. Below are open reception rooms which contain a museum. The historic bazaar is one of the oldest in the country, with 170 stores and 2 caravanserais within numerous brick corridors. Several wind towers cool a water reservoir that becomes extremely hot in the summer months. The oldest monument of Nain is the Narin-Gada fortress situated in the center of the old town. Unfortunately, only remnants of the clay and brick fortress have survived the centuries. The overwhelming view from here is the reward for the adventurous climb of the 60-meter-high tower. The ancient city of Yazd is one of the country's oldest cities, set like a string of pearls along the Kavir coast. Here is also a center for the followers of the Zarathustra faith, the pious predecessors of Islam who fled here to escape Arab persecution. In its historic prison, Alexander the Great allegedly detained various dignitaries. Next to it is a Seljuk mausoleum. Also the Fahadan Hotel, a former manor house that has been cleverly transformed into an hotel. Its basement contains access to a deep well and underground qanat pipes that once supplied the city with water. The cool rooms shine out with luxuriant splendour, and the roof garden and wind towers have magnificent views. The narrow streets of the historic Old Town mainly consist of mud-built buildings with partially covered corridors, domes, and numerous wind towers. Its strategic location at the crossroads of many important caravan routes brought the city great prosperity, along with both religion and culture. Remains of the old city wall are still preserved, sturdy and in places up to 15 meters high. This water storage tank is dominated by 6 wind towers. Nearby, Saad-Abad. The magnificent palace residence of Mohammed Aga Khan, who was governor of Yazd from 1747 AD. A high wind tower rises above a 2-story reception palace. In the center is a hall, a public area that was open in summer and could be closed in winter. The elegant Friday Mosque, with its tall entrance and double minaret, is the main landmark of Yazd. Its tile decorations of various shades of blue are the most beautiful examples of the 14th century Persian architecture. The Qadi of Yazd, Syed Rokan Oddin, financed the construction of this complex. Next to the mosque is the Qadi's mausoleum, which is visited each day by the faithful. The bazaar is a lifeline of trade and also a meeting place. The Water Museum is located in the private residence of the noble Kolakhduz. On display are underground qanat water pipes. The large square of the main bazaar is dominated by the Takia-e-Mia Chakma and a Naki in memory of the Hossein Matis. In the evening, drums and speakers accompany the various athletic sports exercises that are performed by numerous men's clubs. A dream of the Orient. On the route to Kerman is the caravanserai of Zainuddin that dates back to Safavid times and that was rebuilt some years ago as an hotel. Through a large wooden gate, visitors enter a corridor which leads around a small courtyard. And this is where the accommodation is to be found. It's difficult to believe that it's located behind the massive external walls of the circular complex with its 5 tower bastions. The cave village of Mound is located 2,200 meters above sea level between Rafsanjin du Shah Abbas on the slopes of a mountain valley. Guides explain the 3,000-year history of the village, whose inhabitants created their living quarters here. During the winter months, most of the residential caves accommodate fewer than 150 people of the village community, along with their animals. The living conditions are somewhat archaic. But those who live here seem to be happy enough. Within the caves, there's a mosque, a bathhouse, and a school. We've now reached Kerman, one of the many ancient cities in today's Iran. Ardashir, ruler of the Sassanids, founded the city. Its Friday mosque was built during Mongolian rule. And it is the city's most famous building. Adjacent is the Moshtaghir Ali Shah mausoleum. Each dome covers a grave chamber that contains a Sufi tomb. In the circular ice house, ice from the mountains was stored until the summer. Even today, the massive ruins of a Sassanid fortress can be seen in the city's hills. Following Islamic conquest, the city had many rulers. Today, it has a large Zoroastrian community. An octagonal structure of quarry stone and mortar leaves many questions unanswered. Is it a Seljukian tomb? Or is it associated with Zoroaster, since it's not orientated towards Mecca? The Qadjarian Khan complex has a large courtyard with a water pool and is framed by arcade passages, a mosque, caravanserai, bathhouse and bazaar. A museum features coins and coin production from a time when Persia was the most visited country in the world. There is also a large and opulent entrance portal of an early Madrasi and Vakil caravanserai from Qadjarian times. After the long and exhausting journey through the desert, this was paradise for the merchants who came here. In the corner of the palace is the Qadjarian Khan Mosque, a small mosque that was named after the Safavid governor who ruled the city in the 17th century. An entrance framed with blue tiles. The Qadjarian Khan Hammam can be seen from far away. Artistically painted stalactite reliefs adorn its inner arcade. These traditional bathhouses have always had an important function, primarily as a meeting place for men and an exchange of news and information. The bathing facility, an assembly of individual domed structures, indicates the splendor and precious furnishings that date back to the time of the Safavids. finally, the huge Vakil, or Regent Bazaar, whose 750-metre covered main alley is always full of life. As in the past, people spend much time here. New visitors admire the architectural structures of the bazaar's streets. This bathhouse is now a traditional tea house with a relaxing atmosphere, lively music, tea and hookah pipes. While in the area of the northeastern Kavir Salt Desert, the extreme heat and complete lack of water in the Lut Desert make life impossible here. Typical of Lut are the Kalut and Yaran. Bizarre rock formations shaped by the wind, sand and water, which are a reminder of the canyons of Jordan's Wadi Rum and Libya's Archaic Desert. Surrounded by beautiful mountains on the edge of the desert is Mahan, which was once an important settlement. At the end of the 19th century, a Persian garden was created that is fed by a year-round, high-yielding source. The Qadjarian royal family stayed in the upper palace when they visited Kerman. A bright blue dome marks a magnificent mausoleum which was built at the command of Shah Abbas II, the great Sufi, sheikh and founder of the order in the 15th century. Large and shiny at the same time, a 10-metre high wall protects a hidden treasure of the desert, the Ra'in Citadel. An architectural work of art made of clay bricks, which in the Sasanian period served as a military base and summer residence of the ruling Bam family. Until the early 20th century, it was an important caravanserai. And at the rear, a building of the ruling family. The rooms offered much comfort and were cool and comfortable. Within a single main gate, arcades all round, and a carefully planned layout that comprised 20,000 square meters of internal dimensions. A ghost town in the desert. At the time of the Sassanids, there were extensive forests in Savistan, in which Bahram V hunted with his entourage. Today, only a central square-domed building can be seen. It is open on all sides and resembles the later Iranian Four-Iwan Mosque. King Bahram was known as a great hunter, and Persian poet Nizami made him the great epic hero of several stories. The Koran Gate leads to the city of Shiraz, a city of love, roses and poetry. Famous Persian poets once lived here and created works of great beauty. Today their mausoleums are visited with much reverence, such as the Hafiz Tomb. This, the Paradise Garden, is one of the city's many parks. Nasr al-Mulk had a 3-story palace built here. It's now a botanical garden. The Mongols left Shiraz undamaged, but the Afghans conquered, destroyed and looted the city. And finally followed a Kurd, Karim Khan Zand. He built a citadel that protected this trading center, the future capital of his empire. And a magnificent city of wealth was born. With its many domed rooms, the Vakil bathhouse was built in around 1776 AD with lifelike scenes that are simulated here, and the comfort of an inviting swimming complex is conveyed. The Vakil complex also contains a mosque that was built at the same time as the bazaar. The Vakil Bazaar was considered to be the most beautiful in Persia. Its main street is about 800 meters long. From 1871, the bazaar and its warehouses served as a center of trade for 100 years. A traditional tea house surprises. The Shah Shiraz mausoleum contains the remains of the brother of Imam Reza. The King of Light died in Shiraz and is revered as a saint. The ancient Friday Mosque is entered through the mausoleum. The Nazir al-Mulk Mosque is known as the Rose Mosque. The winter prayer hall shines out in the light of stained glass windows. The old city palace of the Kavam al-Mulk family is now a museum. In a small garden, palace guests were received and escorted via steps to an open portico. The Madrasa Khan is the most well-known traditional university in Shiraz. The Persian Orange Garden of Delgosha also attracts with its old buildings. Valuable exhibits are displayed in splendid rooms, exhibits that indicate the amazing wealth of their original owners. Nearby is a garden that contains the mausoleum of the poet Sadi. This, the center of Persian literature, became known far beyond the national border. Its heyday was, however, only short-lived, as well as that of the Zand dynasty. Lotf Ali Khan was assassinated, and Tehran became the capital of the Qadjarian Empire. Close by is Persepolis, city of the Persians. Although Darius the Great had 2 capital cities, Pasargadae and Susa, he wanted to present to the world a 3rd impressive city. During several decades of construction, the glorious total work of Persian Achaemenid art was achieved. The Gate of All Nations, a 70-meter-long relief on the eastern stairway of the portico, depicts a number of envoys of the 28 nations of the Achaemenid Empire. Babylonians, Edomites, Armenians, Ethiopians, Syrians, Indians, and many more, in national clothing and head attire. Mythical creatures in stone such as lion griffins and horse heads lie scattered around. They once supported the roofs of the various halls. Darius was succeeded by his son Xerxes, who had further palaces built, as well as the remarkable Hall of 100 Columns. For 58 years, Ionic stonemasons, Babylonian brickmakers, Median and Egyptian goldsmiths worked in Persepolis. They created what was an indelible symbol of the Achaemenid Empire. The highest level contained the royal residences with living rooms, a fire temple and harem. Darius, Xerxes and Artaxerxes are the known kings who left their magnificent buildings in Persepolis and Susa. This is the most important architectural legacy of the First Persian Empire, which had its heyday between the 6th and 4th centuries BC. Around 4 kilometers away are vertical rock walls. Here, the first Achaemenid kings had their grave sites cut in stone, to which were added huge grave reliefs. The Sassanids added rock tomb reliefs below the gravesite, with royal martial motifs. Darius I was the first king to have his tomb built into the rock. The site became known as Naqsh-i-Rostam, Portrait of Rostam. The grave of Kiros is an impressive sight. In the vast Dasht-i-Mahab plateau are the ruins of Pasargadae, the first royal Achaemenid city of residence founded by Shah Kiros II. Although the Achaemenid made Hamadan one of its summer residences, they also built their headquarters here. A sprawling city system in the form of a large camp, with numerous spread-out buildings. On this plateau, history is still alive. It was here that Iranian tribes settled following centuries of wandering. They founded a small kingdom under their first ruler, Achaemenes. There was a residential palace, audience hall and gatehouse, but now only ruins. And the Paradeisos garden is no longer visible. Esfahan, half the world. With its historic centre, this oasis city, situated on the banks of the Zayanderud River, is a gem of ancient Persia and one of the most beautiful cities in the Islamic world. Its captivating and atmospheric Friday mosque attracts many visitors throughout the year. In the centre of the historic city is the centre of the modest Pillar Halls Mosque, which is thought to have been built above a fire temple. Lush flowering gardens with ponds welcome travellers following their strenuous caravan journeys, with garden palaces such as the Kaka Keçil Sutun, where the Safavid rulers received their guests. In the Nightingale Garden is the Palace of 8 Paradises, which was used as a harem, believed to have been occupied by the Shah's favourite 8 wives. Following the death of Shah Abbas, around 30,000 Christian Armenians settled in the Julfa district, where they built the Saviour Cathedral. There's also a monastery with commemorative plaques and gravestones. A special attraction is the admirable Kaha Bridge, the most beautiful in the city. 132 metres long, 12 metres wide, and with 23 arches. The grandeur of Islamic architecture is reflected in Imam Square, the central square of the Safavid era, known as the image of the world. It's 7 times larger than the Piazza San Marco in Venice. To the south, the square is lined by a domed structure which for some years has been known as the Imam Khomeyni Mosque, perfectly aligned towards Mecca. It is of breathtaking proportions and contains the Oriental splendour of precious 7-coloured, glazed, half-rung tiles. However, Shah Abbas did not live to see its completion. The Ali Kapı Gate Palace is located in the middle of the western side of the Maidan. Ornate stucco and inlays adorn a stand supported by columns with canopy, from where the king could have an overview of sporting competitions and parades. Opposite is the Lotfallah Mosque, whose dome, despite its modest dimensions, is a masterpiece. It is possibly the most perfect faience dome in the world, both in colour and pattern design. The pageantry portal in the north of the square leads to the Kayseriye, the imperial bazaar. Here there are coppersmiths, traditional fabric printers, and spice merchants, in addition to various jewellery designers. The niches of fruit traders are next to those of cloth merchants. Even the Achaemenid King of Kings once appreciated the charms of this desert settlement. Esfahan possessed many mosques and caravanserais. Since 1979, the Abbasi family has owned the most beautiful hotel in Iran. A traditional place to stay as in the past. And even today, magnificent furnishings bring the fantasy of the 1001 Nights to life. Esfahan is an architectural work of art. We return to western Iran. Before arriving in Hamadan, there's another surprise in store. In 2009, during roadworks in the remote hills, the entrance to an underground cave system was discovered. first, 5 large rooms, then more and more connecting passages, and now another 70 underground caves with dwellings 7 stories high. Why did their inhabitants choose to live beneath the Earth's surface after carrying out painstaking excavation work with primitive tools? It is not known who lived here. Above ground in Hamadan were more than 1,000 villages. Vakane depicts the typical construction and lifestyle of those times. The simple houses are mostly built of stone, which was used as protection from the severe weather conditions. Strong, durable and resistant to all kinds of extreme weather. The narrow streets provided shelter from freezing winter storms and the life-sapping heat of the summer. It's now a place of Islamic cultural heritage and a popular tourist destination. Fertile farmland surrounds each village, watered by various sources of the Azam food region. Invasions, battles and revolutions always dictated the numerous great empires which developed on Persian soil. The Kingdom of Medea was the first great empire, with Hamadan as its capital. Today, the splendour of the revered tombs of the religious leaders of more recent times, such as the Imamzadeh by Ahmad and Abdullah. The deep religious faith of the people has been well preserved here. A grave tower that dates back to Seljuk times has its charm. Completely built of fired clay bricks, its interior with stucco decorations. It was the burial place of the Alavi family, who determined the history of the city for around 200 years. A more recent, very modern tomb for the mystic poet Baba Tahir has become a popular destination for both young and old alike. A stone sarcophagus is surrounded by his poems. On a nearby hill is the excavation site of the city's oldest original settlement that dates back to the time before the Medea founded their capital, Hamadan. The remains of the walls of buildings and streets have been excavated. And objects found here are exhibited in the museum, although precious gold and silver artifacts are kept at Tehran's National Museum. Armenian churches indicate that there was once a great Armenian Christian community here. Also buildings such as the Nazari House from the Qadjar period. It was a time when Europe influenced many aspects of design. The oldest building in the city is an old pagoda, the mausoleum of Esther and Mordecai, the most important Jewish place of pilgrimage on Iranian soil. And a famous pre-Islamic stone lion even today seems to stand guard for the city's senior citizens. The tomb of Ibn Sina is a reminder of the extraordinary physician, philosopher and poet who became famous as the Doctor of Doctors. At the bottom of the Al-Wad Massif are various ancient rock inscriptions, the only visible remains that date back to the Achaemenid period. For the Hamadanis, this place is also a popular destination. This country possesses many faces and is proud of its history and the ancient and cultural treasures of Persia. Iran is still a land of desert, palaces and mosques, a country that is timeless, captivating and historic.